Alright, we got gluten hammy day. Not the most exciting, but we'll just go over the routine real quick, and then I'll talk about ways to make a bulk or cut, whichever one you're doing, easier. Specifically on the diet side, I'll mainly talk about maybe some other stuff, but honestly just certain ways where you can actually help yourself adhere to it, and same diet, just certain smaller things. But nonetheless, we're going to start off today with, assuming it's 6 o'clock on a Monday, so I'm probably going to have to mix up the order of shit, but assuming everything is open. 45-degree Nordic curl. We'll do that. Standing hamstring curl, laying hamstring curl, or like a seated hamstring curl, and then like some type of RDL. Probably on the machine I've been using every time. I'll probably do like the RDL second. So 4 exercises, 2 different hamstring curls, Nordic curl, RDL. I'm probably going to do RDL second because I wanted to get something that isolates my hamstrings first. So when you go into something like, when I go into something like RDL, where you try to do a deadlift or anything to hit your hamstrings on like a compound, obviously a compound movement, there's a lot of moving parts, and it's possible that your gluten hammies may not be the thing that's actually giving out when you go to failure, and you want to obviously make that be what goes to failure. So to help yourself, obviously good form. Well, no shit. Well, let's talk about different ways. Another way is hit them directly before going into your compound movement. Because if they're activated, they're pumped, they're sore. One, you're gonna be able to feel them more when you go into RDLs. 2, because they're already sore, they're more likely the first thing that's gonna give out because they're sore. That's why. In a bodybuilding context, that makes sense, and I honestly do it for almost every muscle group. I think every muscle group, pretty much. Because we're not worried about hitting PRs. We're more worried about, not worried about it, but we're more focused on hitting the muscle we're actually trying to hit. Like baseline, square one, like first thing we're trying to do is that. And then obviously train hard and hit it with some volume. So it's not a number on, like it's not a, what am I trying to say? It's not the weight on the bar. That's not the goal. The goal is your physique, okay? So your physique doesn't give a shit if you're benching 315. It just knows how much stress you put on the muscle, right? So if you pick one goal, either it's powerlifting or bodybuilding, or just maybe you want to be overall more fit. But I chose bodybuilding, so we're not worried about the exact number, because obviously I'm gonna not be able to do as much weight as if I just started with the RDLs, but that's okay, because what matters more is them actually hitting them more. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you're a power lifter, you start with the compound movement. You warm up a bit and you start with it. Why? Because you want all of your energy and power and full strength, not sore at all yet, to go towards your max output, okay? Another example is like for a chest day, I'll do like pec flies first. I know these aren't like exactly isolations, but it's as close as you're gonna get. Obviously your biceps are moving a little bit during pec fly, but you're mainly hitting your pec, all right? Same thing with this 45-degree Nordic curl. Sure, I may be hitting my lower back slightly, but my hamstrings are gonna give out first. So that's the rationale behind that. We'll just throw in calves and abs at the end, per usual on leg days, and then we'll pose and get out of there. So, yeah. So I was gonna talk about, the fuck is going on? What I was going to talk about diet-wise, like to help your bulk or cut, is like meal timing. And I'll talk about bulk first, because this is like the absolute number one thing. If you have a tough time getting food down on a bulk, take this advice. You need to get down as many meals as possible as early in the day as possible. Otherwise, you're fucked. there's really no other way to put it. You're fucked. Just because almost everyone has that feeling in the morning where you don't want to eat, or at least I remember I used to be like that, to where like you wake up, you're like not hungry for the first 4 or 5 hours a day. You're gonna want to ignore that. And why is because you need to have front loading the food to have your digestion take down some of the food so you can get more in throughout the rest of the day. If your first meal is at noon and you, I don't know, go to bed at midnight, I guess sleep for 12 hours, I don't know. Point being made is if you're eating your meal like not immediately after you get up, it's only going to start digesting once you get it down, and that's going to stall you from getting the rest of your meals in the day, and you're not going to get as much food down. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, no shit, it's going to not digest until I eat it, but I'm talking about like more than one meal, not just breakfast. Don't just eat breakfast right when you wake up and then don't eat your next meal until like 6 hours later, because given if you're bulking, more likely than not, you're gonna have to eat more than 3 meals a day. So ideally, first meal is you wake up, next meal 2 hours later, like quick, because then you have the rest of the day. You're moving around, you walk around throughout the day, helps with the digestion, and helps you get more done. Because honestly, bottom 3 things about bodybuilding, one of them, being in the kitchen at like midnight and still having like 3 meals to get down. I think that will forever be bottom 3 things. Another one's cardio, but actually no, cardio's not too bad. Sometimes once it's like 20 minutes of cardio, I don't mind it. I actually like it, but 45 minutes of cardio during prep sucks. Regardless, get the meals down as early as possible. When you're bulking, and it'll help you get more food down. Even if it's the exact same amount of food in a day, just the more you get in earlier, the easier it is throughout the day. Way easier. And then on cutting is the exact opposite. Honestly, even if you're not competing for a show, I wouldn't even worry about trying to get breakfast in. Sure, you're gonna want to like have it spaced out for you don't really want to be fasting as long on like a prep, but most cases, like, push it back as far as you can while still having food before you train. Like, don't wake up at 8 a.m., don't eat until noon, or like, and then wake up at 8 a.m., train at noon, eat breakfast at like 2. Like, obviously eat before you work out. Pushing them back flips the other way. When trying to go to bed, it's nice to have meals, because going to bed hungry, it's pretty fucking difficult. So, and also just having a bunch of like sugar-free sodas helps a lot. Some other things I found personally, I like to change the time of day I work out. Obviously, if a job like work 8 hours, may not have a choice, but assuming you're probably my age or younger, or maybe slightly a little older, maybe you don't have one yet, or maybe you do as part-time. I just found bulking, when you, same concept of getting as many meals down before you go to the gym, helps on a bulk. And then on a cut, at least when you start to get hungry, if you work out maybe earlier in the day, like noon or something, get a meal in or 2 beforehand. I found that to be the best way to like complement whatever you're trying to do, either gaining or losing. It also helps with the, like, for cutting, if you work out early in the day, you're usually pretty tired second half of the day, especially if you're losing weight, so that also helps it. I don't know, but these things that I'm saying are obviously like just tips, and aren't going to be the thing that like pushes the needle for you getting bigger or pushes the needle for you getting leaner. They're just smaller things that you kind of learn that make it smoother of a process, right? Like if you could pick gaining weight and not force feeding yourself, or gaining weight and having to shovel down meals, obviously you're gonna take the one where you're not shoveling down meals. So that's why I pointed out. I think those are the two main ones on a bulk and cut. On a bulk, I found if you have at least a meal plan, if you put like a bunch of, if you buy a bunch of different types of sauces to make the meals taste good, helps a ton. But specifically sauce, you can buy very, very low calorie sauce, just because the actual like, I was gonna say liquidity. I'm fucking been trading too much. Like the liquid to it actually helps to make it go down instead of like a dry chicken and rice. You know what I mean? It's usually when you get deeper in a cut or a bulk, when you really don't want to eat anymore, you stop producing as much saliva, and it just helps. Because I remember when I was bulking and I just couldn't eat anymore, or didn't want to eat anymore, and I didn't have sauces on the food, and it's just like super dry, and you drink water with it, mix it in, swallow. It's like, ugh. Easy enough. Just buy a bunch of different types of sauces that you like, try some out, and that'll make it easier. On a cut too, I mean, but mainly helps more in a bulk. All right, decent amount of carbs here, so we'll see what I start with. Yeah, I say that just because I don't really wait much for machines, unless if it's like something I have to wait for, as in there's no other machine to go to in the meantime. Just to keep the workout moving. I mean, I'm not hyper fixated on the order I do my exercises in, with a couple caveats. Like I do want to do RDL's second thing, but like the first thing I start today, if I do hamstring curls or do the Nordic curl, like it doesn't make much of a difference to me. So, all right, let's get after it. See you guys in there. All right, we'll start with this. I like this over actually doing like a, what's it called? Horizontal Nordic curl. Makes me get my hamstrings more. I mean, because just using my body weight, you can only get like 6 to 8 reps on it if you're doing it right. But yeah, just make it hamstring focused. I'll just push through like above my knee, like through my thighs instead of like through my hips, and like fully hamstring focused instead. Honestly, it depends on what you're trying to hit with it. Just given that I already have like, what, half of the exercise is glute focused, want to throw this in with the hamstring, so easy way to mix it up and just make it a different target muscle. Okay. Also, that's why I kind of like starting with these, is just because I used to have these at the end of the glute and hammy day, and I ended up getting like 4 reps just because my hamstrings are already fried, and these are already pretty tough to begin with, so throwing them in first isn't, I don't mind it. All right, let's get going. Also, if you set the height of this thing to where you can put your knee underneath the pad, I find it just a lot easier to actually push through your thigh. I don't know if you can see it, but all right.
¿Qué vas a hacer? ¿Qué vas a hacer? ¿Está bien? ¿Ah? Oh, pecho. Ya está. ครับ
I
We'll do seated, I don't know, like 4 sets, and we'll just move over to a standing one. Just to mix it up. I don't feel like doing 8 sets on the same machine to make it a little enjoyable. Still getting enough volume in for glute and hammies. I guess more hammies than glute, but just 2 different types of hamstring curls. Sure, is there maybe a difference on, I don't know, length in position or not length in position? Maybe. The difference, marginal. I'm not worried about it. So, I'd rather enjoy doing 2 different lifts for hamstring curls instead of 8 sets on this thing. All right, let's get it.
Yeah, I was another one that I tried to coaching, but my senior year, all the coaching staff and everything started.
Last set for this. I guess I can kind of address why I'm not going over the top on these sets like I normally do. My head was pounding the past few days since I was sick, and I don't know. There's no point in taking a D-lot. It's like 1 extra rest day. And it's like the best alternative to that is just take the next couple training days and just make everything like kind of higher up instead of just saying, oh, let's just take a week off for unnecessary reasons. So you definitely don't need a week of rest days to recover. So yeah, alternative, still train, just honestly just not doing anything like fucking triple drops or some shit. Still train hard. Once I can't do no more, just stop. If I do like 10 to 15 reps, then it takes less toll on my CNS. Just for only 3 days. That's literally it. I'm not trying to make it this is like an excuse thing to not train hard, but definitely made sense to do that. All right. Finish up with this.
That was definitely 10. Let's check it out. We'll go out there. I'll talk more in the car.
All right, let's get out of here. Oh, what was I gonna say for the workout? I don't know. I haven't talked a lot. Oh, I know what I'm gonna talk about during the lifts, but I will say Mondays, dude. Combo with everybody in there. It's basically a social hour. I remember Sam Sulek saying that one time. It's facts, though. Like, dude, I don't know, like 4 or 5 conversations, each of them like 10, 15 minutes long. Like, yeah, it's not bad, especially after doing work all day. I know what I was gonna say is the fact that I said I wasn't going as crazy on today's workout, which is today's the last day of it because tomorrow's a rest day. And then back to like shoulders and back and quads. So it was just 3 days I wanted, or 3 or 4 days. myself like a mental reset after being sick. I don't know. I brought it up like 4 or 5 times now already, being sick. I'm not trying to like sound like a baby about it. I'm just bringing it up out of analysis, not out of complaining or looking for help about it. Because I know that needing to take an additional rest day, especially, is a sign that like something's up within my body, obviously. Yeah, my immune system wise, obviously, but just like CNS wise, when it was like pounding that much, it was like, all right, a couple of rest days instead of just staying bedridden, and which is or like way worse. Move around, get these lifts in. Still training relatively hard. Just like I'm not throwing anything in that's like new. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Let's say like for RDLs today, I didn't throw in a rest pause set or like another rest pause set on top of it, like 2 rest pause sets or something like that. Or for like what's going on here? My hamstring curls, I didn't do like a drop set or something and then like lean forward and crank it out like, bro, crank it out like crazy. Which normally I throw stuff in like that every lift, and that was just the one way I was going to dial it back today, is not throwing something like that, and also make stuff relatively higher reps for the most part. I think RDLs are still lower, but come on, I just know higher reps is less taxing on your head. I've said this the past few days, but I mean, it's a pretty good thing to nail home, because it makes more sense to why you do what you do. 6 to 8 reps technically is more effective for growth, like signaling growth in the muscle. And 10 to 15 is a little less, but there's trade-offs for both. 6 to 8 may be more effective, but it's also more taxing on your head. 10 to 15 may be slightly less, but it's less taxing on your head. 6 to 8 is more taxing on your head. I hope I said that right. Think of it like this: like a power lifter, when they do like a 1 rep PR, they literally have to program a deload week right after that, because of how taxing that is, of how much weight you're pushing on 1 rep. It's very, very taxing. So that's how they organize it. And what's the most similar to that is when you're cranking out like 6 reps or something. Hopefully that makes some more sense. So, well, it's like, why don't you just make everything in your workout 6 to 8? If it's more effective, it's like, well, because of the mental part of it. You ever go into the gym before and your just heads are already pounding on the first set? Yeah, not good. We don't want that. Oh, this is pissing me off. We don't want that, so we want to prolong being at that point where our head starts to hurt. We have to take an additional rest day. And part of that comes from throwing stuff that's like 10 to 15 reps. Still getting more volume in for the workout while prolonging the need to back off full throttle. And then another question you could have is, well, why don't, this is what a lot of, at least maybe a year ago, some of the TikTok science-based guys will ask, like, or try and say, like, well, just do 6 to 8 reps, less volume, and then you can get the maximum growth with, like, without hurting your, or fatiguing your CNS. It's like, well, you're actually leaving gains on the table, though. You're partly right. You can absolutely get more out of your workout than just doing that low amount of volume, which is why you throw in more, just like 10 to 15 reps. So partially right, just missing the piece there. I guess another thing I've heard before is like, well, I don't want to do junk volume. Like, if only the last 5 reps of a set are the effective ones to grow, why am I doing these other ones? That's just fatiguing. It's like, well, if you're doing something that's 10 to 15 reps, the weight you're using is not heavy enough to where it's going to be fatiguing. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to have extra muscle soreness from doing higher rep. And interesting. If anything, it's less fatiguing because you don't have that extra systemic fatigue from doing something 6 reps. Ow. Fuck. You know what I mean? So, out of all that, which is why I threw everything in higher reps today. Trying to get back mentally to lifting after feeling like that. So yeah, we're all done with that now. We're gonna get back to going full throttle, obviously. Tomorrow still's a rest day. I'm not gonna take away my rest day. But yeah, what am I, 215 now? I dropped like 2 pounds this week, which is alright. It was expected. We dropped like 500 calories intentionally. And what am I saying? Yeah, just honestly, the mini cut's gonna be over once I start to get like hungry again. Just so when we push the off season again, I can prolong it, or like have the off season longer. That's kind of the name of the game, is being able to string along gradual upping your weight, body weight, over an extended period of time to get the most amount of muscle and least amount of fat. Right? So, I'm going to get my hunger back in check, because that was the main reason I went on a mini cut, was that of being full, because I was eating 5,500 calories, so we had to cut it back. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I will say I could go for like 20 wings right now and like some fries. Maybe not fries, but I could just go for 20 wings right now. I don't know. Maybe my coach will have me throw in a cheat meal while on a cut, just to keep my metabolism moving. Or maybe he won't. I don't know. We'll see. Because I know during my prep, it was almost like every other week, or almost every week, where I was having like a burger and fry, because I was dropping weight pretty quick. And we didn't want my metabolism to adapt just as fast, so we didn't have to drop the calories so quick. And yes, that's a real thing. It works because topping off your glycogen stores, the carbs, and also a little bit of fat, signals to your body that, like, okay, you're not dying. You know what I mean? Because if you're losing weight, losing fat, the whole reason your body has fat in it in the first place is a survival mechanism. As if you don't eat, you have food to give your body is the fat. And obviously, as you lose a bunch of fat continuously, your metabolism adapts as a survival mechanism to help preserve energy. So that's why your metabolism slows down to help preserve energy so you don't die. And you can help signal to your body like, hey, we're all right. You don't need to slow down, by giving it a cheat meal to where it tops off the food for the day and all your food stores fill out. You don't gain fat from it, but your food stores fill out, muscle cells fill out, glycogen stores fill out, and then you get the benefit of that, which is clutch, dude. You get a Five Guys burger and fry while 3 weeks out from show, 4 weeks out, 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out, like, pretty nice. Not gonna lie. Yeah, so that's how that works. Some guys have I don't know how we change the conversation in this, but I'll just keep it going. Some guys have like a burger as their like carb load before a show, which kind of makes sense, just because like the fats from the burger, the saturated fats, and the salt, and well, I guess you don't want salt, but carbs from the bun, whatever. But we didn't do that just because, what the fuck? First show, don't want to try and do some fancy shit for a prep, or like a carb load, you know what I mean? So it was a pretty basic carb load. I don't know, the same shit I was eating, just a little bit more of it. All right, we're gonna call it there, just because I think that was a good talk. Tomorrow's rest day, like I said. Shoulders after that. Day 91. We got like a week and a half till we hit our goal of 100 days of filming. Clutch. The goal in mind. So I'm definitely gonna keep filming after that. Just because I don't see why not. It doesn't take that much time out of my day to just film. So we'll do that. But appreciate y'all watching. See you guys in 2 days for shoulders. Peace.